Welcome to Astroventure, the DSLR astrophotography channel. Hey there, Astroventures, welcome back. If you're new to this astrophotography channel, my name is George and this is the astrophotography channel for DSLR and mirrorless camera bodies, combined with the lenses we already own and a simple star tracker like the SkyGuide Pro or the Star Adventure. In today's video, this one comes from a request from one of our members, and they said that they recently got Photoshop and they would like a tutorial on doing an edit staying exclusive to Photoshop, and that's what I'm going to do today, with the one caveat of I'm going to be using a add-in to my Photoshop, the Arc Sinh Curves adjustment. But the reason why I'm having that one caveat is because this is a free add-on that you can plug into your Photoshop. So just to modify it a bit, I'm going to stay within Photoshop, but I'm also going to use a plugin that is available and free. So let's get started. The image that I'm going to be working with comes from Sasquatch Mike. He did the Pinwheel Galaxy, and he went ahead and shot, I think it was 30 minutes of lights. He shot, I think, 45 minutes of darks. However, he did not shoot any of the calibration frames. If you're unfamiliar with those, we have a video on shooting your calibration frames here on our Astroventure YouTube channel, so check that out. But we're going to go ahead and work with Mike's image and I'll walk you through it. So here we go. I've opened up this image. It is the stacked one from Deep Sky Stacker. Deep Sky Stacker outputs a TIFF image, and you can see here in the center we have the Pinwheel Galaxy, and I'm going to do a slight little adjustment here, and where I want you looking is up at the top in the histogram in the upper right corner. I'm going to do a quick little adjustment to get these color channels aligned roughly, and then once I get into Photoshop I'll tweak it a little further. Now, as you can see, I'm adjusting based on the temperature and tint to get this histogram lined up just a little bit more. I'm also bumping up my exposure to a 1.7 over what Mike initially had out of Deep Sky Stacker. This is what it looked like initially, and then a 1.7 just to bring it up a little bit. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead and open this, and it will now come over into Photoshop. Now, I also use StarNet to remove stars. However, this is a tutorial on staying within Photoshop, and I want to keep it as simple as I can to not overwhelm on getting somebody started in Photoshop. So here we go. The image has come over from Camera Raw. I bumped up the exposure a little bit. I did a quick adjustment with my temperature and tint to help align the RGB, the red, green, blue color wavelengths. And now what I'm going to do is go ahead and hit Control M, and this is going to bring up my curves. Now, I said that I was going to be using the Arc Sinh Curves. I will include a link below. Now, what this does is it helps to stretch the data using curves. So what I like to do is come down here to the Arc Sinh 10, click that one, and you can see how it has created this arc within the curves line, and you can see how this has brought the pinwheel out more. I'm going to click OK, And then from here, what I'm going to do is adjust my levels. Now, my adjusting in the levels, I'm going to do two things in here. One, I'll be adjusting for my black point, and I will also be adjusting to get that red, green, blue of the RGB better aligned. So here we go. I'm going to click on the channel drop down. I'm going to click on red. I could see what red looks like. I'm going to go ahead and bring this left marker over to the edge of the red curve and hit enter. I'm going to press Control L again, and I'm going to go back to the red. Okay, now I see what the red looks like. I'm now going to take a look at green. Red will always be my reference point. So here we go, green. Now you can see green is a little bit narrower than red. I want to ideally stretch them so that they overlay each other much better than this does. So I can see what red looks like. Let's go back to green. And what I'm going to do is move the left marker over to the edge of the green, and then I'm going to move over to the middle marker and move that left towards the curve of the green a little bit, and I'm going to hit enter. Now what's going to happen is because I move those two markers in, and when I hit enter it stretches them back out. So let's take a look. Control L, back to red. So there we see what red looks like. Now let's take a look at green and see how that shifted. Now, the curve is pretty similar, but looking at it, the right-hand side doesn't quite match up. There's red, there's the green. So I'm going to move the middle marker to the left a little bit more. Try and stretch it. I'm going to adjust the left marker just a little bit and hit OK. Control L again, bring it back up. Let's take a look at red. Okay, there's the red, there's the green. I'm going to tweak it just a little bit more. Now I can always move the markers, or I can type in a number. Now with this, I'm going to do a 2 on the left, a 3 over on the right, a 1.03, and hit OK. Control L, and let's do another comparison again. So there's the red and there's the green. Those are pretty darn good at that point. Okay, now I need to adjust my blue channel. Now, because green isn't a perfect match to red, and I'm trying to match off of red, I will compare red and blue to get red and blue the best match I can. I don't want to compare green and blue because, again, green is not exact match to red, and if I work off of green as a reference point, then blue is going to be off even more from red. So let's take a look. Here's the red. Now, let's move to the blue channel. Okay, now the curve size looks pretty darn close, but red is a little more to the right than what the blue is. The blue is a little bit more to the left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the red. I'm going to type this in. Let's see, I'm going to put a 3 in here and hit enter so I can pull the red a little bit more to the left. I'm going to go into my green because I had green matched pretty well to red. I'm also going to put a 3 there, hit enter, so I can again pull green a little bit more to the left. And let's see, because I want to keep red and green moving together, let's compare red to blue again. So there's red, there's my blue. Oh, look at that. Red, and now blue. Those are like dead on. So let's take a look at green now. Okay, there's green, there's red. So since blue went so well, I'm going to tweak this green just a little bit, and I'm going to adjust this to a 1.03, and over here on the left I'm going to give that a 2, hit enter, Control and L. Okay, there's the red, and here's green. Oh yeah, take a look at that. That is about as good as you're gonna get, but I want it just a little bit better. So I'm gonna go 1 on the left for green, and I'm gonna go 1.02 for the middle and hit enter. And then take a look. Okay, there's red, and there is green, and there is blue. Okay, now I have to be honest with you. They don't usually line up that well. This is absolutely amazing how well the red, green, and blue actually align on this. So there we go. Okay, now I want to take a moment and show you something here. Now on this, and I'm hoping it comes through on YouTube. Now, Sasquatch Mike was kind enough to let me use this image for editing, and when I was asking him about his image, I had asked him, did you shoot your calibration frames? He did not. And I knew that he hadn't, and here's what I mean. The calibration frames do a couple things. It helps to reduce noise, to which this image, and in a moment we'll do a little bit of pixel peeping up close. If he had shot the calibration frames, the noise that I'll be showing you in a moment would be even cleaner. And also out here at the edges, you can see this vignetting that's showing up. This would have also been corrected by the calibration frames. And if you're not familiar with them, here at AstroVenture we have a video on our YouTube channel that talks about how to shoot and what to, how to do it to shoot those calibration frames. So Sasquatch Mike's image looks really good in spite of the fact that it was only 30 minutes of data, I think, and he doesn't have calibration, but we'll continue on this. And as far as the vignetting, I'm not too worried about it because we're going to be cropping down anyway. But here we go. Now, what I'm going to do is I've got this about where I want to go. I'm happy with this, and now I'm going to try and make it a little better. So I'm going to hit Control J so I can duplicate the layer, because as I do this next step, if I screw up what I've already worked on, I can just throw it away and I have the original, before I duplicated, available to start over in case I mess this up. Alright, so here we go. We just duplicated, which was a Control J. I'm going to come up here to Filter, and I'm going to click on Camera Raw. Okay, now what I'm going to do is take the magnifying glass, place it over the target, the Pinwheel Galaxy, and I'm going to zoom it. Okay, so one click, it made it bigger. Now, you can see all the splotchiness, as I said. You've got the red, green, purple showing up in here. I'm now going to move over to the side. I'm going into Detail. We're going to start sliding the color noise reduction to the right to minimize that. Now, I don't know how well you see this at home, but basically I do have the modeling in here at 25, but I don't have the color in there anymore. So I'm going to stop there. Next, I'm going to take a look at my noise reduction, and as I adjust this, I'm going to again be looking at my target, because as I adjust my noise reduction, I don't want to hurt the target. Now I slid that all the way to the right, and you can see how soft this got. And now I'm going to start working it back to the left. See how much sharper it is. And now I'm going to bring it up a little bit, and I'm going to stop at 6, because that's about the point where I'm starting to see it affect the target. I oftentimes like to take a slider from one extreme to the other to see exactly what it's doing, so I know what to be looking for. Okay, next I'm going to come over here into the basic. I expanded that. I'm going to take my black a little bit to the left. Again, I'm watching my target. I'm going to increase my highlight a little bit. I'm going to increase my contrast a bit. And what I'm looking for is that I'm bringing up that contrast, but I'm not losing the faint areas of my target. Okay. If this were a target with color, the Pinwheel really doesn't, I would be sliding the vibrance up, but I'm not liking what it's doing, so I'm just going to leave that alone, and I'm going to hit OK so I can go back and take a look at my target. Okay, there we go. There's the adjustment to it. Now I do see, and I don't know if you can see it at home, there is a bit of green cast in here. So a number of different ways. I could go into camera raw, or I'm going to come over here to the right and I'm going to expand this, and I'm going to go into, let's see here, where is it that I want? Let's see, color mixer. Okay, and what I'm going to do is adjust my greens a little bit. No, I don't like that. Throw that away. No. Okay, we're going to try this differently. Here we go. Let's go into color balance. That's actually what I had wanted, color balance. Okay, so I'm going to take from the green and push to the red to help get rid of some of that cast. Okay, now I don't know if you can see it at home. -2 made quite a jump. Now I'm also going to, because I tend to like a bit of a blue cast, I'm going to slide a little bit of blue into my image. Let's see here, just a little bit. There we go. Okay, I like that. Okay, and then next what I'm going to do with this is add a little bit of clarity to the actual target. Now, let me talk about clarity. Clarity is like contrast. Contrast works at the extreme ends of the black and the white. The clarity is looking to get that separation, but within the mid area. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take everything that I've done, put it together into a single new layer, and I will work with that one. Now, the reason why I'm doing that is because I don't want to flatten this, because if what I do next screws things up, I can throw that away and I can come back to where I am at this moment in time. So, sorry, I'm not a Mac person, but here on PC it's going to be Control-Shift-Alt and then the letter E. It's going to take everything that I've done previous and make a new layer at the top. So you can see it here as layer 2. I'm now going to go into Camera Raw again. I'm going to hit, I apologize. Okay, now I'm in it, so now I'm going to hit the letter K. The letter K is going to allow me to make a very localized adjustment, because I'm wanting to adjust just within the pinwheel here. Now to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to where my clarity is. And I know that I have passed it somewhere. Let's see here, where was clarity? Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm going to go down to my clarity. I'm going to bump this up a little bit, and then I'm going to bring my brush over here. Now I can make my brush bigger or smaller by pressing the bracket keys, which on I'm assuming it's the same on a Mac, but on a PC, to the right of the letter P, you have those brackets. I can make this a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. Now you'll notice on this brush, you have the center circle and the outer circle. Between the center circle to the outer circle, it feathers out in its adjustment. So I bumped my clarity up to a 21. I'm now going to left click, mouse over, and I'm kind of painting it. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is increase this clarity, and I'm looking at the pinwheel. There we go. Okay, and again, I apologize. I don't know how well it's coming through at home, but I have some increased clarity in there now. This obviously is way too zoomed in to look good. Let's see here, but to show you, we'll toggle it off, back on, off, back on. Okay, and again, I apologize. I don't know how well this shows up at home. Okay, I'm going to now hit OK, commit it, send it back. Okay. Now from here, I'd like to get a little bit more contrast going in this, and so what I'm going to do is go back into Camera Raw. And the reason why I exited Camera Raw is because I was happy with what I did. I wanted to send it back in as committed. Now I'm going to go back to Camera Raw again because I don't want to have too many modifications done in a single adjustment and then have to throw away everything, and I'm unable to keep the parts I like. So I'm going to go back into Camera Raw. Don't click Camera Raw up here at the top, because it's up at the top and you can see where it's highlighted right now. It's going to apply the last Camera Raw adjustment again. I'm telling it I want to go into Camera Raw fresh, so I have to click it down here. Okay, so it's going to open back up. There we go. Now I'm going to get in here and play with a little bit of my contrast. I'm again carefully watching my target. I'm going to give it a little bit more black, just ever so slight. Come down here. I'm going to give it a little bit of clarity. There we go. Okay. Okay, there was that adjustment. And now what I think I want to do is play with my levels again. So Control L, and I'm going to carefully put a 2. You can see how that changed it. So put it back to 0. Okay, now watch for the change. Going with a 2. That blackened it up a little bit. And I hit OK. And again, with every edit that I do, it can change from time to time. This is just me showing you what I'm doing. And the next time I do this, it may not be the same. It's just how the image kind of talks to me. Okay, I'm going to go back into my levels again. I'm going to see if I can do a little bit of stretching, moving it to the left. I don't like it. You see how it's brightening it up? So I'm just going to cancel that. I don't like that. Next, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to put a little bit of a curve adjustment. One of them that I like to use, which is just subtle, is this linear contrast RGB. I'm going to click that. There we go. I like that. Okay, so here we go. Before, after. Before, after. And that, I think, worked really well. Okay. Now, like I said, I don't want to ever commit everything in case the next thing I do, I screw up. I want to be able to throw away the next thing I do to be able to step back. So I'm going to add a little bit of sharpening to this, and I'll show you how I do this. And it's subtle without looking bad. So here we go. I'm going to go and I'm on the top layer, which is Curves 1. I'm going to go Control Shift Alt E. So here it is. Everything's put together to create this new image with everything put together. I am going to duplicate it, Control J. I'm now going to this layer 3 copy. I'm going to go Filter. I'm going to go Other, and I'm going to go High Pass. Now you'll notice it went gray. What I am looking for is I'm going to adjust down here on this slider. Now this is obviously way too much. At about 0.9 on this particular image, I just barely see the image coming through. I've got a little bit, I've got the stars coming up. Let's take a look at, bump it up just a little bit more. Okay, and what it's going to do is it's going to emphasize the edges of the things that are in the image to create a little bit of extra sharpness without looking bad. So I'm going to click OK. So I'm happy at 1.0. And now on this layer 3, I'm going to click Overlay, and it gives a little bit of sharpening. Now you're not going to be able to see the difference at home but I can here. And again, this is one that you don't want to overdo. And so there we go. I've got that. And then I would go ahead and crop this down to the image that I want. There we go. Enter. And then I do notice with this, I've got a little bit of glow in the center area. Again, part of this has to do with the fact that no calibration frames were shot. So one more time, Control-Shift-Alt-E, so I create a brand new fresh layer with everything committed to it. And I'm going to go over here and introduce this tool real quick. This is the Burn and Dodge. I right-clicked on this to show you. Burn is to darken things, Dodge is to lighten things. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to click on the Burn, which is the little hand. Up here, I'm going to drop this down to make sure my hardness is super soft. I want a smooth transition. And then I'm going to drop this range down. And what it's asking me is, do I want to darken the shadows, the midtones, or the highlights? I want to darken the shadows because this glow, and you may or may not be able to see it, this glow around the pinwheel would fall definitely into the shadow area. Now, I'm going to go ahead and set the exposure down at about a 12. And with this nice wide brush, I'm going to just kind of start to darken a little bit. There's a little bit of feathering that happens going in. Went across the image once. Oh yeah, that cleaned that up. There we go. Well, there you have it. I hope this was useful to everyone out there, and those of you getting started in astrophotography and editing in Photoshop. And maybe in the future I'll do another video where I edit something with color, because that'll be a bit different than it is to edit for something that is lacking color, such as the pinwheel. Till next time, I would love to see you over at our Facebook group, AstroVenture DSLR. And if you like this video and the content of what we're doing here, consider liking, subscribing, ringing the bell, and sharing these videos out. Until next time, I wish you clear skies and uneventful nights.